Hey, this is Samantha once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time for David. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of reviews, topics, commentaries, re-reviews, randomness, whatever, feel free to send me the directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Also, forgive any background noise. There's storms, there's neighbors' roosters, there's laundry I needed to do. So, just how it is. Now, this is a film called Duel to the Death, which I'd never heard of. Came out in 1983. That apparently there's a cult following as one of the better sword fighting movies. And the plot is every 10 years, two people have to fight to see who's the greatest sword fighter. This year, there's a Shaolin scholar played by Damian and then there's a samurai played by Norman Chu. His character name is Hashimoto, sorry. So they'll meet and decide on the winner. So with that premise, I thought it was going to be like The Duelist, that film where it was a really stop movie where one guy's always trying to fight the other throughout the years, no matter what. And it's like, okay, enough is enough. Let's end this. No, you do get a duel at the end, but instead there's also this conspiracy between their their parties. Our two leads don't know this, but there's behind the scenes a conspiracy in order to find out info in order to find out certain secrets. Like there's ninjas, yes, there's ninjas doing a mission, and they're searching through all these books, and there's this writing, and they're copying it down. And then the Shaolin monks find them, and then there's all this fighting happens. Some of them escape, some of them do kamikaze, which I'll get to. Anyway, it's this whole conspiracy thing going on where then the two leads have to help each other and fight, but then ultimately do their duel to the death. I could see if this is one of the films, not because there's magic. Well, no, I take that back. There's a little bit. There are scenes like ninjas on kites, hanging on the kites, and jumping down to the ground. There are times where a guy is looking at a giant ninja, and the guy's looking up and he's being blinded by the light behind the ninja, and that body explodes because there's 5 or 6 ninjas in it. There are bits of gore. When I say that, it's not like it's Reanimator, Dead Alive, no, but there are moments of gore where people get their arms cut off, or people get split in half, or people get their heads cut off and impaled on a tree. There are ninjas that one is a female ninja, all of a sudden takes her tits out, I guess to make a guy awe and wonder before he gets captured. There's this deal where they're kidnapping all these other warriors. That's something where I don't really understand their plan, because I guess their plan is we're going to kidnap all these great warriors because then they will tell us their secrets. But just because you capture them and they put them like in this web-like, I know it was like darkness. It's a complete darkness, and then all these fighters are kind of caught in this web type thing. And I'm like, well, are they dead? Are they not dead? Are they... I guess being taken because we want you to tell us your secrets, but that doesn't mean they'll actually tell you. I mean, and that whole thing was a bit wonky for me in the plot. It was only saved by some of the zany craziness going on. The two leads, there's not a lot of... I don't think there's a lot of depth to them, in which, you know, the samurai, he's just worried about honor. there's a little bit more depth to the Shaolin scholar because he's like, well, maybe there's something more to this. Maybe there's something more to all this stuff going on. Maybe we don't have to fight now after we help each other in the third act. But neither one is really a villain either. Although the samurai does something villainous in the third act, but that's mainly just because he's honor bound by his master to take care of this duel. But I will say this, there's really good camera work in this. I mean, from the very beginning, when the ninja's doing a mission, and the camera's pulling back as these ninjas are just dropping into frame, or how the ninjas are working together to do this and get this book and copy these writings, and they all have their own job, and then the monks show up, and then you really nice choreography, swift, fast, not clunky. After seeing certain films like Crazy Samurai, which is just an extended tape that just got redundant and boring, after a while, after watching Izo or Takashi Miike film where the choreography was just junk in my opinion, here, really good, swift swordplay. And like the camera is going. Again, this really nice camera work, camera pans in this, which I appreciate. Again, just some crazy shit. Like some of the ninjas realize they're going to be caught, so they jump on a monk and they explode. Literally exploding kamikaze ninjas. The samurai guy at one point fights a guy in a green demon mask who teleports, kills him, and then finds out it's his master, but his master's happy because it was a test for his student, and he succeeded. The Shaolin scholar meets this woman. I don't know if she was pretending to be a guy. Because the way she's dressed, as if she's trying to fool people she's a guy. I mean, what is she, Mulan? But by the voice you tell it's a lady. And like maybe there'll be a romance between them. Again, I think that wasn't 100% needed. It wasn't the most interesting. I mean, I guess it was interesting where it led to, but it just wasn't the most interesting scenes. I mean, it's definitely the lesser of the scenes compared to, the giant ninja where 6 ninjas come out of it as if it was fucking Voltron, or I did one ninja gets naked, it's a lady with tits out, or kite riding ninjas. And then there's some surreal moments in this movie, and that was the fun of it. I would say at the end of the day, I liked the film because that was the fun of the flick. The music was decent and fit the narrative. Like I said, there's some really good camera work. There's some cool looking sets, like this underground type of dungeon type of section. Very long. Camera's able to showcase the length of it. The little trinkets all around. Brings a little bit of life to the proceedings. Like I said, the plot, it's a short film. It's an hour and 20 some minutes. It is on YouTube. You just have to click on the little CC thing, the subtitle. Unless it's not up anymore. You never know with YouTube nowadays. Again, the plot is just, the little lovey-dovey stuff was really the most interesting. And again, I was kind of confused as to the whole conspiracy capturing these fighters. Like, are they dead? Are they alive? Just because you capture them doesn't mean they will tell you their secrets. It's not like you're extracting blood and ancient Chinese secret, and you just drink it in a fucking bottle or something. Yeah. So there are a couple flaws, but overall it was fun. It was entertaining. It was well photographed. The 2 leads, again, they're there. As in character, personality, there's really Nothing really special about him, sadly. But there's nothing really off about either. I think the samurai would like to have seen a bit more of his. I mean, other than fighting his master, who had this green demon mask, other than fighting this one lady to like a draw, there's not a whole lot for him until the third act. I wish there was more to either his character or just more out of the blue action scenes with the samurai. Maybe a few more action scenes with the samurai fucking up some ninjas. Just because. At least maybe a little bit more action for his character. But you definitely get some fun stuff in the finale. The end of the spoilers. Just overall, I would say, if you like sword fighting movies, yes, it does the over the top. But this is the over the top that I prefer. Because Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Hero or Jet Li, those were just kind of artsy, felt a bit pretentious. For me, more boring. And with me with fighting, I prefer more like Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme, even Jet Li and Fist of Legend, The Raid Redemption, that kind of down and dirty, Tony Jaa's on bot, down and dirty, bone crushing type of fisticuffs. But if you're going to do this over the top, you're in the air, sword fighting, I'd rather be like this, which is just crazy, zany, insane, kind of like you would see in Big Trouble in Little China. Granted, Big Trouble in Little China didn't have a giant ninja that turned into small ninjas and all that, but that same feel and tone, but at the same time, it's not a parody at all. It's still taking itself seriously, despite all this crazy stuff. If Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon had all of a sudden Michelle Yeoh, here's my tits, or people going underground like they're fucking groundhog, or cut people in half like that, like it was a fucking wishbone. Be a different tune. It'd be definitely a different tune. But again, get more into spoilers. You find out that it's not just the ninjas, but it's also parts of the other party too. And one guy is the father of the girl that the Shaolin scholar likes. And then she has to fight him for her dad. And again, it's a really nice choreography. I don't want to get too much detail. That's for those to enjoy. And ultimately, like, the father gets his legs cut off, but they're fake legs. And we saw them earlier. That he was walking around with no legs. Now he's got these Mr. No Legs. And this is what I mean, like, some of the crazy ingenuity that's put into place of this movie is like, you're not quite sure what's going to happen next. And then the third act was rather fun, where you're in this forest area, the samurai's fighting a little bit of ninjas, mainly this one guy. We get some nice gore comeuppance. Well, before that, when the Shaolin guy is fighting the one girl's dad, the dad asks, again, spoilers, the dad accidentally kills the daughter. And it's like, well, there's that. And then the Shaolin and samurais taking care of these ninjas in the forest. The Shaolin's doing most of the work, honestly. I would have liked the samurai to do a little bit more work and craziness within that sequence. That's one thing I think could have been done more. Because the Shaolin is like, again, he's avoiding like 100 ninja stars. He cuts a ninja in half. He stabs the ground, and I guess a ninja was hiding in the ground. His blood spurts. Either that, or he killed the ground. He murdered the ground. He murdered Earth. Either he murdered Mother Earth, or there was a ninja hiding in there, and then just blood spurts from the ground. Again, stuff like that. It's cool. And they kind of remind me of a Dolph Lundgren film, where one or two movies Dolph Lundgren would do this move in Showdown Little Tokyo and The Punisher, where there'd just be a wall, and Dolph Lundgren would just go, and there just happens to be a guy behind the wall. I always thought stuff like that was pretty cool, pretty badass. With that reveal. Only this is, bloodier with the blood shooting out. Like it's an Evil Dead 2. And then the samurai's fighting this one guy, cuts his arm off, cuts his fucking head off. And then finally you have this duel at the end. And yeah, the samurai does do a villainous act. Just the Shaolin finds his master, saves him. It's like, oh, we don't need to do this duel anymore. But then the samurai kills the master because, like, I'm honor bound. I need to do this. And this is going to get you to do it. I thought that was a bit too much. Maybe if he hurt the master, or cut his hand, or cut his leg, or wounded him, I think that would have done the same bit of business, only not be as villainous. Because he's not really a villain, but just that was a bit of a too villainous act for me, to my liking. I think he could have done something else. But then they have this duel on the cliffs, which looks great, cinematography-wise, and they're flying in the sky, gusto, energy, and insanity. The samurai, you could tell he's honor-bound, because when they go on the cliff and one stabs the other just to try to save himself, he realizes he wounded him, but not in an honorable way. So then the samurai gives himself the same wound, so they're on an even playing field. And just what happens, super spoilers, they go at each other, getting really nice, not to be a dead horse, choreography. The Shaolin guy gets his fingers cut off and his arm cut off, but he's able to stab the samurai in the stomach. And I think the samurai realizes he lost because he stabs his own foot so he doesn't fall off the cliff. And he kind of stands there watching the water, I guess, until he dies. While the guy, Shaolin guy, he has no fingers on one hand. His other hand is cut off. So I'm guessing he'll live, but he's not going to have a sword. Can't do anything with a sword again. So I guess in a way, maybe it'll lead to the peaceful life he was wanting all along, just not by choice. It's definitely a way to end it, where again the one guy's looking out into the water, the other guy's like in the background staring at him, and then the movie ends, and I'm like, okay, that's definitely an impactful ending. No shit's given. So yeah, Duel to the Death is an interesting film. Like I said, I wish there was a little bit more to the two leads that really make them more come to life as characters. I wish the samurai had a little bit more action for him to do, whether it be in the forest against doing more stuff with ninjas, or maybe one or two spots earlier in the film, a little bit more. A little bit less of the lovey-dovey stuff between the Shaolin scholar and the lady. Maybe a little bit more to make sense as to capturing these trapped warriors. Like, are they dead? Are they not dead? Because it doesn't really look like they got saved. But then there's this one part where the ninjas are carrying other people, and he saved his master. Was his master the only one that was alive? What about all these other people that were in these, like, things that ninjas were carrying? I guess those are different from the trap warrior. I might have just completely missed it. If so, I apologize. But there's a bit confusion there. So it's not perfect, but it's definitely a interesting film. Like I said, it's 80-some minutes long. The music fits for what it needs to be. You have some really nice camera work, some really solid choreography, couple decent bits of gore, and a decent amount of fun and sanity to make it at least worth a watch. I'm glad I saw it. I liked it. Didn't love it, but I liked it. That was pretty decent. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.